I keep going back to this idea that Sidwell is not just some random monster who drifted into Port Charles from the shadows. No, that feels too simple, too convenient. What if he is tied to the Cassadines in a way that nobody saw coming? What if Helena was not just some distant influence on the darkness of this town, but blood, actual blood, running through Sidwell's veins? I know it sounds dramatic, maybe even ridiculous at first, but the more I think about it, the more it refuses to leave my head. Helena Cassadine. Even saying her name feels heavy. Helena Cassadine was never just another villain on General Hospital. She was calculated cruelty, wrapped in elegance. She did not lose sleep over the damage she caused. She enjoyed it. There was something almost artistic about the way she destroyed lives. And ever since she disappeared and was presumed dead, there has been this vacuum. A space where true evil should be standing, but no one quite filled it. Not really. Then Sidwell appears. And suddenly, the balance shifts. Sidwell is not just dangerous in one dimension. He is not just a mobster with a temper, not just a corrupt businessman, not just a political criminal pulling strings in the dark. He is all of it at once. Political crimes, diamond smuggling, murder. The man collects charges like trophies. And the frightening part is not even the list of crimes. It is how calm he is while committing them. That is what unsettles me. He does not lash out in chaos. He orchestrates. Fans have seen it clearly. Sidwell is cruel, yes, but more than that, he is strategic. He does not rush. He studies. He waits. And in what feels like a ridiculously short amount of time, he managed to manipulate half the town. Half. That is not normal villain behavior. That is legacy villain behavior. And who in Port Charles has that kind of legacy? The Cassadines. The more I sit with this theory, the more I start asking uncomfortable questions. What if Helena was not done with the world when we thought she was? What if before her so-called death, she left behind something? Or someone? A secret son? Or a grandson hidden away from the family for reasons we still do not understand? The Cassadines are notorious for secrets layered on top of secrets. Hidden heirs are practically a tradition with them. Could Helena have had a child no one knew about? Or perhaps a nephew she groomed from afar? Maybe Sidwell is not just inspired by her methods. Maybe he was raised on them. Think about the emotional coldness. Helena never sought redemption. Not once. Other Cassadines, yes. Nicholas Cassadine tried to balance darkness and decency. Valentine Cassadine has shifted between villain and anti-hero more times than I can count. Even Alexis Davis carries Cassadine blood and struggles with it, fights against it. There is conflict in them. Guilt, hesitation. Helena did not hesitate. Sidwell does not hesitate either. That similarity is not small. It is glaring. Since Helena vanished, we have not had a villain who felt untouchable in quite the same way. Sure, there have been threats. Dramatic ones, dangerous ones. But none that felt almost mythic. Sidwell has that aura. He walks into a room and you feel the temperature drop. It is subtle, but it is there. And in such a short span of time, he has practically controlled the political landscape, manipulated law enforcement, and cornered the underworld. Even Sonny had to take notice. Sonny Corinthos is not easily intimidated. He has faced mob bosses, international criminals, family betrayals, and lived to tell the tale. For Sonny to feel even a flicker of concern, that says something. Sidwell managed to manipulate both Sonny and Laura Collins through Dalton's death. That was not brute force. That was psychological warfare. Dalton's death became a chess piece, and Sidwell moved it with precision. I keep wondering if General Hospital is intentionally building Sidwell into something bigger than we realize. Maybe they are handing him too much power too quickly, or maybe that is the point. Maybe the writers want us to feel overwhelmed, to sense that this man is not operating alone, that there is history backing him up. And then, there is the castle. Why would Sidwell buy the Cassadine estate? That detail will not leave me alone. You do not just purchase a fortress like that unless there is something personal attached. Money alone cannot explain it. Power maybe, symbolism maybe, but what if it is inheritance disguised as acquisition? What if he is reclaiming something that was always his? If Helena was his mother, imagine the implications. She would have shaped him from birth, taught him how to manipulate emotions, how to exploit weaknesses, how to play the long game. That would explain how Sidwell can outmaneuver seasoned players so effortlessly. It would not just be intelligence. It would be training. Or maybe Helena was his aunt. That is just as chilling. An aunt who saw potential in a young boy and molded him quietly. A hidden Cassadine groomed away from the public eye. It fits too well with the family's obsession with legacy and control. The genetic argument is hard to ignore too. We talk about environment shaping villains, but the Cassadines always made it feel almost hereditary, a darkness passed down like heirloom jewelry. If Sidwell inherited Helena's ruthless mind, then his ability to evade the law makes sense. He does not just commit crimes, he anticipates the consequences and eliminates them before they surface. Still, there has to be a crack somewhere. And that is where Lucas comes in. Lucas Jones has always had this quiet persistence. Not the loud hero type, but the kind who stumbles onto truths because he cares enough to look. If Lucas were searching for medication to treat Britt's illness, digging through old records, hidden rooms, forgotten cabinets in that castle, what if he finds something unexpected? A document, a family tree, a name that should not be there. Britt Westbourne is tied to the Cassadines through complicated threads already, so Lucas searching for something connected to her makes narrative sense. And in that process, he could uncover a secret lineage tying Sidwell directly to Helena. Imagine the moment of realization, the disbelief, the horror, because if Sidwell is Helena's blood, then this is not just about crime. It is about legacy, about unfinished business. But here is the darker possibility. If Lucas uncovers the truth, will he live long enough to reveal it? Sidwell has killed before. That is not speculation, that is fact. Murder is not a line he refuses to cross. If protecting his identity requires another body, would he hesitate? I do not think so. And that is what terrifies me. There is no moral tug inside Sidwell, no internal debate. With other Cassadines, you sometimes saw that flicker of doubt, a hesitation that suggested they could change, at least temporarily. Helena never changed. She reveled in control until her final breath. Sidwell feels the same. Some fans argue that this theory gives Sidwell too much importance, that not every villain needs to be a secret heir. Maybe, but in a show like General Hospital, bloodlines matter. They always come back to blood, to family, to secrets buried decades ago. It would not be out of character for the writers to reveal that Sidwell has been Cassadine all along. And honestly, I would not hate it. It would raise the stakes. It would connect the current chaos to the show's history. It would make Helena's shadow stretch even further than we imagined. Because even in death, she would still be orchestrating destruction through her son or grandson. Sometimes I wonder if we are underestimating Sidwell. Maybe he already knows someone is getting close to the truth. Maybe he bought the castle not just to claim it, but to guard what is hidden inside. Documents, proof, evidence of his birthright. Or maybe something even stranger. A will. A recording. Helena was dramatic enough to leave behind a final message. I can almost see it. Sidwell standing in that cold stone hallway, running his hand over a portrait of Helena. Not with affection, with recognition, with pride. People keep asking whether General Hospital is giving him too much power too fast, but maybe that discomfort is intentional. We are supposed to feel like the town is slipping, like control is dissolving. That is how Helena operated too. Slow erosion until suddenly everything belonged to her. If Sidwell is Cassadine, then this is not a new era of villainy. It is a continuation. And if Lucas does find that secret family tree, if he pieces it together and realizes that Sidwell is Helena's hidden blood, I worry for him. Because truth is dangerous in Port Charles. And secrets like this do not come without consequences. Maybe I am overthinking it. Maybe Sidwell is just a brilliant criminal with no famous last name attached. But something about the symmetry feels too perfect to ignore. The cruelty, the intelligence, the speed with which he seized influence, the castle purchase, the manipulation of Sonny and Laura through Dalton's death. It all circles back to Helena. And I cannot shake the feeling that we have not heard the last of her. Not really. Even if she is gone, her legacy might be standing right in front of us, wearing a different name, smiling that controlled, cold smile. If that reveal ever happens, if Sidwell is unmasked as a Cassadine, I think it would change everything. Alliances would shift, old wounds would reopen, and Port Charles would realize that Helena never truly left. Sometimes evil does not die, it just changes form.